Today, let's talk about this article that's been going around. It's from the San Francisco Chronicle. This Bay Area school district spent $250,000 on woke kindergarten program. Test scores fell even further. Oops. And yeah, a lot of people over on Elon Musk's website, formerly known as Twitter, have been talking about this the last few days. Not sure how much media attention this has gotten outside of Twitter, like on the talk shows and whatnot. But as we can see, this was written by Jill Tucker on February 3rd, 2024. Article starts, a Hayward Elementary School struggling to boost low test scores and dismal student attendance is spending $250,000 in federal money for an organization called Woke Kindergarten.
Spaghettios!
To train teachers to confront white supremacy, disrupt racism and oppression, and remove those barriers to learning. Now, before we continue with this article, one thing I like to do whenever I see stories like this, especially with these details about struggling test scores and low achievement records, I like to take a look at how much money the particular school district spends on a per student per year basis, which according to U.S. News and World Report, which I have found to be a somewhat reliable resource. I've cross-referenced it before. It's usually pretty close to accurate. If anyone has any better sources on this particular subject, feel free to let me know about them, but this is the best I could do. This is the Hayward Unified School District in California. And according to U.S. News and World Report, this school district, as we can see, gets in revenue, gets $17,436 per student per year in revenue, and they spend roughly $16,000, $15,819 to be exact. And what kind of results does a school like this get with roughly $16,000 per student per year? Well, according to U.S. News and World Report, and as we're going to see, it's even worse according to the Chronicle article, but according to this source, high school graduation rate, 74.4%. When it comes to proficiency, in mathematics, at the elementary and middle school level, 25% of students test proficient in mathematics. In high school, it's 18%, as we can see. So, if you have a student in this school district, there is a 25% chance or less that your kid will be proficient in mathematics. When it comes to reading at elementary and the middle school level, it's 34%. At the high school level, it's a little better, 48%, although I still feel like that's a pretty underwhelming statistic. If you send your kid to one of the schools in this district, there's a less than 50% chance that they will be proficient in reading. And when we think about this stuff, imagine if we had a free market in education and K through 12 education. And I know it gets a little complicated when we think about spending and money because the taxpayers fund all of this fun stuff. But for the sake of argument, imagine if you had $16,000 to spend on your kid's education every year, and you're shopping around for school districts to send your kid to, and you came across the Hayward Unified School District in California, and you saw these results, that they would have an 18 to 25% chance at being proficient in mathematics, 34 to 48% chance of being proficient in reading. Would you guys spend, would anyone in their right mind spend $16,000 a year to send their kid to one of these schools? I guess I'll let you guys figure that one out, but keep this in mind. $16,000 per student per year for this particular school district. The Woke Kindergarten sessions train teachers on concepts and curriculum that's available to use in classrooms with any of Glassbrook Elementary's 474 students. These sessions are funded through a federal program meant to help the country's lowest performing schools boost student achievement. So they got money from the federal government specifically for the fact that they were a low-performing school in hopes that giving them more money would give them the tools necessary to boost achievement. But 2 years into the 3-year contract with Woke Kindergarten, a for-profit company, keep that in mind. This is a for-profit company. Student achievement at Glassbrook has fallen, prompting some teachers to question whether the money was well spent given the needs of the students who are predominantly low income. So this is a school district whose student population predominantly comes from low-income families. 2/3 of the students are English learners and more than 80% are Hispanic/Latino. English and math scores hit new lows last spring with less than 4% of students proficient in math and just under 12% at grade level in English. So it's even worse. It's much worse than the U.S. News and World Report. Again, $16,000 per year for your kid, and these are the results. There is a less than 4% chance that your student will be proficient in math and under 12% chance that they will be proficient at grade level English.
Oh, you absolutely suck!
A decline of about 4 percentage points in each category. Efforts to reach the organization were not successful, with an automated response saying the founder, who also provides the training, was recovering from surgery. District officials defended the program this week, saying that Woke Kindergarten did what it was hired to do, which was apparently not to help with reading and math proficiency. The district pointed to the improvements in attendance and suspension rates, and that the school was no longer on the state watch list, only to learn from the Chronicle that the school was not only still on the list, but also had dropped to a lower level. The decision to bring Woke Kindergarten rather than a more traditional literacy or math improvement program aligns with the belief by some parents and educators that the current education system is not working for many disadvantaged children. And how is this working out, by the way? Isn't this one of the main reasons, the crux of the justification for America's beloved public K-12 education system? The justification being that if we left this to the free market, if we put the responsibility of educating kids on parents, well, what about kids who happen to be born into poorer families, who are either too irresponsible or simply don't have the money and the means to send them to a decent school? Well, we'll solve this by letting the government take over the schools. I mean, when we think about this, is the public education in America, is this not the most socialist aspect of American life? We are talking about schools that are owned and controlled by the government, generously funded by taxpayers, and these are the results we get. And the whole justification is because, hey, what about the children? What about the children whose parents cannot afford to send them to a decent school? Okay, let's let the government take over the most of the education system. Give government a near monopoly on educating kids. Let's grease the taxpayers, tax the shit out of everyone to make sure there's enough money to fund these beloved public schools. And it's all in the name of helping disadvantaged children. Are you guys proud of this? All you guys who still think that the public education system is this wonderful idea? You guys proud of this? And these, 4%, 4% of students, less than 4% of students proficient in math, Less than 12% proficient at grade level English, $16,000 per student per year. In the name of helping disadvantaged children, how is that working out? And yeah, I imagine most people, they won't learn from this. I can do the whole song and dance of showing how when we leave certain goods to the free market, like consumer electronics, appliances, computers, video games, televisions, you happen to see a dramatic improvement in quality while it also becomes way more affordable for the masses. No, can't leave the education. We can't leave educating kids to the free market where we might see these similar trends. And I imagine a lot of people might have excuses for this. Oh, well, it's not the public education. It's not socialism that's to blame. It's just corruption. It's just, oops, a bad economic policy. Anyway, hope everyone's proud of this. Hope you guys are proud of your beloved public education system and its ability to educate disadvantaged children.
You absolutely suck!
The solution, these advocates say, is for educators to confront legacies of racism and bias in schools and to talk about historic white supremacy so that students feel safe and supported. As such, anti-racism programs have spread. Several more conservative state legislatures have moved to restrict or ban them. And yeah, when you guys see what this woke kindergarten program is all about, I think it's understandable that conservatives get passionate about education these days. At the same time, education experts say struggling schools need research-based literacy and math interventions that ensure all students have the basic skills to succeed. Examples of success include San Francisco's John Muir Elementary, which has piloted a math intervention program that has led to a more than 50% proficiency rate, up from 15% prior to adopting the coaching and student-led coursework. Now, good for them for finding a way to improve things, but again, I feel like 50% is still pretty low, especially if you see how much San Francisco spends on public education. Woke kindergarten aimed at elementary age students. I mean, I know it's sort of implied with the kindergarten part, but yeah, apparently this is all aimed. The students who learn from this program are K through at least third grade. Is founded on the relatively new concept of abolitionist education, which advocates for abolition or a kind of starting over, said Zeus Leonardo, UC Berkeley education professor. The idea is that certain things cannot be reformed, tweaked, or shifted because they are inherently problematic or oppressive. Interesting that they don't apply this mentality to the public school system. It's not about indoctrinating or imposing politics, but making politics part of the framework of teaching, Leonardo said. What's the difference? As Rick Sanchez may say, it just sounds like indoctrination with extra steps. It's just indoctrination, but he just shifted some words around and hoped no one would notice. Not on my watch. But some Glassbrook teachers have questioned the decision to bring in the program, saying woke kindergarten is wrongly rooted in progressive politics and activism with, get this folks, anti-police, anti-capitalism, and anti-Israel messages mixed in with the goal of making schools safe, joyful, and supportive of all children. And yeah, this isn't some straw man. If you go to the website for this woke education program, they have stuff like this. Stuff about having conversations with little comrades. Little comrade conversations. Power. Hi, I'm Lil Power, Key's inner child. Key is the creator of Woke Kindergarten. Because Key believes that kids are comrades.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
They asked me to talk with you about power. Yeah, elementary kids should be thinking of themselves as lil comrades and thinking about stuff like power. Have you heard that word before? What does it mean to you? What does it make you think of? And then there's the fact that it's anti-capitalism. Remember what I mentioned when I told you guys? Remember when I told you guys to keep in mind the fact that this is a for-profit company greasing taxpayers for $250,000 for a 3-year contract? And these people call themselves anti-capitalists. I think there's a lot of irony in that, but article goes on to say this tension is reflective of the nation's ongoing culture wars where the right and the left can battle to influence what happens in the classrooms. Newsflash, guys. When you get the government involved in education to this degree, when you get the government involved in the classroom, this is pretty unavoidable. You've essentially turned the school's curricula and the classroom into an endless pressure group battle, into an endless debate, putting teaching plans and lesson plans up to a popular vote, up to the discretion of government bureaucrats that need to be lobbied. The woke kindergarten curriculum shared with schools includes wonderings, which pose questions for students, including if the United States defunded the Israeli military, how could this money be used to rebuild Palestine? Yeah, I guess this is appropriate wonderings for elementary students, for K through 3rd grade students. And just to be clear, just to drive this point home that it is really anti-Israel, because often when you talk about Israel and you rightfully point out that some people are straight up anti-Israel, or even more so, they're anti-Semitic. Often you get people turning into weasels. They'll say, whoa. No one's anti-Israel. Nobody hates Jews. Nobody's anti-Semitic. You know, they just have criticisms over Israel's government and the IDF. They just want them to, be a little more careful about civilian casualties whenever they wage war. They just want Palestinians to have their own land and sovereignty. They're not anti-Israel. Well, it turns out there is video evidence of this founder of Woke Kindergarten, as we can see right here. And this is what she has to say about Israel.
Yes, everyone, the rumors are true. I am anti-Israel.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
I am pro-Palestine. And I am 100% 10 toes down anti-Israel.
Yeah, straight up anti-Israel. Doesn't just want Palestinians to have their own land and own sovereignty. Doesn't just have a few criticisms of the IDF.
I believe Israel has no right to exist.
No right to exist.
You absolutely suck!
I believe the United States has no right to exist.
The United States has no right to exist. Again, this is a lady whose company is getting $250,000 deals from the taxpayers.
I believe every settler colony who has committed genocide against native peoples, against indigenous people, has no right to exist. I believe in a free Palestine, from the river to the sea.
Isn't that ironic? First she's all anti-capitalist, and then starts this for-profit company that greases taxpayers for up to $250,000 contracts. And she presents herself as this warrior against genocide, and then parrots genocidal slogans like, from the river to the sea. Also, seems to have no mention or issue with groups like Hamas, who is currently at war with Israel and clearly has genocidal aspirations.
Really makes you think.
I believe one day Palestine will be free.
Yeah, I have a suspicion that this crazy lady has no clue what freedom is.
Is this news to anybody?
Anyway, that's just wanted to illustrate that. No, the founder of this woke kindergarten nonsense is straight up anti-Israel. And you're going to see she's, as we already see, she's anti-capitalist, anti-American. And I guess she wants kids to think about issues like, hey, if the United States defunded the Israeli military, How could this money be used to rebuild Palestine? In addition, the woke word of the day, including strike, ceasefire, and protest, offers students a language of the resistance to introduce children to liberatory vocabulary in a way that they can easily digest, understand, and most importantly, use in their critiques of the system. In other words, this program seems pretty interested in turning kids into little comrades, little communists, little activists. Not about teaching kids how to read or write. Teacher Tiger Craven Neely said he supports discussing racism in the classroom, but found the woke kindergarten training confusing and rigid. He said he was told a primary objective was to disrupt whiteness in the school.
SpaghettiOs!
Now, as an aside, as we saw in this article, it talks about, this is about, making kids more comfortable and combating racism and white supremacy, making kids feel more comfortable. When we're talking about stuff like disrupting whiteness, whatever the hell that means, would that maybe make certain kids uncomfortable? Or what about Jewish kids who have to, hear all about how horrible Israel is, with no mention of Hamas? Do we know that this kind of malarkey is making Jewish students in these school districts comfortable? And that the sessions were not a place to express white guilt. He said he questioned a trainer who used the phrasing so-called United States.
SpaghettiOs!
As well as lessons available on the organization's website offering Lil Comrade convos or positing a world, get this folks, positing a world without police, money, or landlords. And again, going back to my point, what about kids who might be the children of police, whose parents might be police or landlords, or from Israel, or Jewish, or they might be small business owners? With all this communist rhetoric, all this anti-police, anti-Israeli, anti-landlord rhetoric, communist rhetoric, would it make them feel comfortable? Craven Neely, who is white and a self-described gay moderate, said he was not trying to be difficult when he asked for clarification about disrupting whiteness. What does that mean, he said, adding that such questions got him at least temporarily banned from future training sessions. Yeah, how dare you ask questions? I just want to know, what does it mean for a third grade classroom? Yeah, what does this mean for a third grade classroom? So third graders are being introduced to these ideas about disrupting whiteness and thinking about a world without police, money, landlords, or Israel. Definitely not alarming or anything. Another Glassbrook teacher said woke kindergarten offered one perspective on issues and that there was no tolerance for questions. It slowly became very apparent, if you were a dissenting voice, that it's not what they wanted to hear, said the teacher who requested anonymity for fear of pushback at the school. Yeah, I'm surprised the people who ask questions did not get all expense paid vacation to Siberia. The teacher did not find the training helpful or productive. Our reading scores are low, they said. That could have gotten us a reading interventionist. Hayward Superintendent Jason Ryman said the decision to hire woke kindergarten, which was approved by the school board, was made by the school community, including parents and teachers, as part of a federal improvement plan to boost student achievement by improving attendance. Now, does this make it any better? I can't help but wonder, does this make this any more justifiable? The fact that, parents and teachers and the community was approving of this nonsense? Because why don't we just apply this standard of public education and the way it works? Let's apply it to something like supermarkets and convenience stores. Imagine a world where the government took over all the supermarkets, all the convenience stores, in the name of making sure every family gets enough food. Here, we're going to tax the shit out of everyone. We're going to pool all that money together and we're going to fund community markets and grocery stores and convenience stores. Every family is going to get anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000 per year to feed their family. But the trade-off to this is that the local community, local bureaucrats, the will of the people, the voters, get to decide what goes on the grocery store shelves. You could easily imagine a scenario where a bureaucrat, maybe a vegan bureaucrat, says, you know what? We don't need any more meat on the store shelves. And maybe people going along with it because, again, studies have shown that agriculture of meats, cattle farming, hey, that puts too much CO2 in the atmosphere and it's contributing to climate change. So we got to remove meat from the community market shelves. Or maybe they might remove your favorite snacks or desserts or sodas because we got to crack down on childhood obesity. Hell, maybe the more religious and conservative types might lobby to remove alcohol from the community markets, as if there's not already a precedent for that happening in American history. We could easily imagine how terrible this could get. And I imagine most reasonable people would say, absolutely not. This is America. But I guess people are totally fine with this standard being applied to educating children. The school community, including parents, teachers, and staff, identified a provider to help them do that, Reiman said. He noted a subsequent improvement in student attendance, with 44% of students considered chronically absent last year, down from 61% the year prior, a similar improvement seen district-wide. Now, how do we know this is not a correlation causation fallacy right here? Especially considering that this is all coinciding with America moving on from COVID during a period where schools were locked down and parents and teachers were encouraged to, play it safe, maybe stay home a little more if your kid has the sniffles in effort to prevent the spread of COVID. Glassbrook has been on the state's comprehensive school improvement list since 2020, slightly improving in 2022 and then being reassigned to the lowest performing level this year. Reiman said the district did not hire woke kindergarten for its politics, but rather its work in restorative practices, helping eliminate suspensions and removals from classrooms while luring more students back into seats. We are in favor of 100% of abolishing systems of oppression where they hold our students back, he said. What I believe is we should pick providers based on their work and how effective they are. Keep this in mind. The superintendent said woke kindergarten was not hired to improve literacy and math scores. Well, duh, because clearly did not help in that department. But that helping students feel safe and whole is part and parcel of academic achievement. Now, isn't there a bit of a package deal going on here? Let's assume for the sake of argument that this was a genuine problem facing this particular school district, that students did not feel safe and whole in coming to school, and that was partly to blame for their lackluster attendance rates. Why is that then being packaged in with all of this communist, anti-Israel, anti-American, anti-capitalist propaganda? Is there a different program that might help students feel safe and comfortable without all this political baggage? The superintendent added, I get that it's more money than we would have liked to have spent. Also, keep in mind that this money was meant to boost performances. Boost performances in places like reading and math, and then it was spent on this insanity. Woke Kindergarten was founded by former teacher Key Gross, who identifies as they, them, and describes themselves as an abolitionist, early educator, cultural organizer, and creator, currently innovating ways to resist, heal, liberate, and create with their pedagogy. Woke Kindergarten. That's just a long way of saying that she's a propagandist, essentially. Just one big fucking word salad to distract from the fact that this lady is clearly a propagandist with a political motive. They established the for-profit company in 2020. They established it in 2020. So this gets back to this point that the superintendent said, oh, well, I believe that we should pick providers based on their work and how effective they are. This company was established in 2020, right around the same time schools in America were locking down for the better part of 2 years, and then they got a contract. Which makes me wonder, how would you know how effective this woke kindergarten program is when it probably was not possible for them to develop a proof of concept to show that their program is effective by any significant means? Founded in 2020, right around the same time schools were locked down, then they get a contract. How the hell does this guy know that this program was effective at all? Education policy experts said that while the name of Gross's organization and the words abolitionist education were provocative, many parents, teachers, and others are feeling politically empowered after pandemic battles over masking and when to reopen schools. And we got a few paragraphs here about what various education experts and intellectuals think. Julie Marsh, a professor of education policy at University of Southern California, Rossier School of Education, cautioned that it can be problematic when teaching strays too far into the political ideology realm. It's just a big distraction from some of the bigger purposes of education and what we should be focusing on. Craven Neely, the Glassbrook teacher, said that he had experienced the pull of the nation's culture wars from both sides of the political spectrum. As a veteran teacher in Modesto, he sued the school district after it prevented him from talking about his husband or talking about LGBTQ history, including gay rights icon Harvey Milk. He said he settled out of court. Woke kindergarten had a lot of good things. I think race should be addressed. Children should be aware if they are being discriminated against, he said. But as a teacher of Hayward Unified, I should not have to get on the bandwagon of defunding the police or insulting our country.
You're goddamn right.
And I think I'll end by addressing this because I feel like often when this topic is discussed, there's this big straw man that a lot of the woke apologists and CRT apologists like to attack. They attack this straw man by saying stuff like, well, I think it's a good thing that we don't whitewash American history in public schools and that we teach the truth about racism and slavery and oppression in America. And you know what? I actually agree with that. American history is not all sunshine and rainbows. Let's talk about how America has failed to live up to the principles established in the Declaration of Independence. And also how everyone in America is much better off when we do embrace and live up to the principles of America as established in the Declaration of Independence. Let's also talk about the massive positives and achievements throughout American history. In other words, I think there is a middle ground between acting like America is and always has been great and perfect and teaching this anti-American communist nonsense like woke kindergarten.